Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks. Somebody sent me this. It's really clear, or it's a little fuzzy, but they want this, but they want it to look like this, I think. They said everything in the circle they'd like to have removed. So what I'm going to do is make a duplicate of this. Whoop, duplicate of that. And then I'm going to take these circles away. And it's a little bit big, but I'm going to leave it that size because I think it's going to trace pretty good. I'm going to go to Trace Bitmap, Outline, Trace Clipart. You can see the solid white in there, so we need to go to remove background from entire image, say okay. Now we want to move that down, and look how clear it is. It traces pretty good. I mean, I maybe if I was clean it up a little bit, and uh, but that's not what they asked. So what I'm going to do now is go up to Object and Group and Ungroup, and what's cool about this, or what's good about this item, is that that part is separate. Well, it's not completely separated. I didn't notice I did take those away. I'm going to keep those. I thought they wanted to get rid of these, which we can go ahead and get rid of right now. I'm going to go ahead and make these red. And I'm going to take this. Now it's going to change my idea on this because I want to keep those. I thought they were not touching, but they are. But we can keep them. First, I'm going to keep them, so I'm going to left click, right click, and I do everything in hairline. And this is probably why. I'm going to take the three-point curve tool and go from that node just like down there and give a little bit of a curve. So now I can grab that. Look at that. And I put it right back. Now I'm going to go and you could do the other one and mirror it over, but if you wanted it more perfect, three-point curve line again, which really didn't help me in this case, but give a little bit of a curve and smart fill that in. Whoop, got a little leak. So I didn't get, oh, I went to the wrong side. So just take your shape tool and bring it down there. Then smart fill that and move it over. We can adjust that later. Now to get rid of everything else, I'm going to take the smart fill tool and fill that in. And then I'm going to left click, right click, and I've got all this done, but I need to get rid of that. So I'm also going to bring in the three-point curve line. I'm going to go from about right there to right there. I got to be on the line or edge, and then bring it down and take your virtual segment delete key and just delete that. Now they can play around that if they want it sharper. Then I'm going to take the smart fill tool and fill it in. And what that did, that saved me from having to weld these together. I could weld them together and get the same result. But I get so used to using the smart fill tool. Now here's the only other problem is that if we make that line thicker, it's going to be touching that. So what I want to do is go to Effects and Contour. I'm going to contour the outside with rounded corners, just like that. Now I'm going to go in, well, too trained to thought. I'm going to go ahead and break the contour apart because I like doing that. But if we nudge all this over, we could just fill that in. But you see, we got some of that red kind of involved in it. So I'm going to make it better. I'm going to take this, I'm holding down the shift key. I'm grabbing those three pieces and I'm going to go left click, right click. I'm going to select all three of these, left click, right click. I don't really probably have to do this to make it really perfect. That one's outside the line. This one is really too close for comfort. So I'm actually going to take my shape tool and just bring that one in, and that one will work. I'm actually going to bring this in, so it'll all be part of the drawing. I'm just using my shape tool, and you could play around with this and make it perfect. But I could weld that, but I find it so much easier by the time you figure out how to weld it, you could just break those lines apart or virtue segment delete or delete those. And I just noticed I don't have the nodules on the outside, and we could add those later, or they can pretty much. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. It doesn't have to be, normally I would cut this thing in half. See, there's a little bitty whoop-de-doo we'll probably need to get rid of anyway. A whoop-de-doo is a bump in the road, or at least what I call a whoop-de-doo. And it's from my old, when I was a young man riding a motorcycle on a motorcycle track, the hills were called whoop-de-doos. If that helped your imagination. And cut right through there. And we got a little not a bad spot. We don't want that. I'm going to hit that delete. And I'm going to bring that kind of like that. And you could clean it up. And then take your Smart Fill tool, set on red, and look at that. Now I don't have those bumps. We could add those bumps, and the young lady I'm trying to help will let me know, and I'll show her how to add those bumps, because it wouldn't be that hard. Let's just add them real quick. Because we're nudging, I'm going to make this a different color, just so we can kind of see it. I'm going to go ahead and fill that in, and I'm going to move it over and see this. So I'm going to left click, right click, and this might totally backfire on me. I'm going to take the 3-point curve line, and I'm going to go from about right there to right there. And see, that way I can get rid of this, and we'll have to get rid of the bottom, which we are. Okay, look how bad it is. So let's do this. And I really should have started at the center of the page. But let's do this. Let's Control G to group that, and hit P, put that in the center of the page. Before we do anything else, let's hit P and put that in the center of the page. See if it kind of works out. And it really kind of does. So let's do this. Let's move that back out of the way, and let's take this and left click, right click. Well, I didn't really want that. I want to break it apart. I really just want this. And that's going to have to come with it. So what I'm going to do now is double nudge over here. And maybe I'll just take away my red line from the inside and the outside, and the black lines here, and those lines here. And and I'm also going to clean it up, but I want to get to a certain point first. I'm going to make it look a little bit better, because there's some bad spots in here. Okay, that got rid of that. So maybe let's just delete that line. There you go. And then delete that line. And now let's go ahead and just do this. So now it ought to Smart Fill everything. Well, that's going to work out pretty well. Left click, right click in red. I always get rid of the junk, Now, the only thing bad about it, I think I'm going to have 2 sets of this line, so I can move that out of the way and maybe move that out of the way. Yeah. And yeah, exactly. Because I've already got these other things. Let's just delete these. I'm moving them over, but in case I need them. Because all these are solid. We can turn them all red. And if we take, I still didn't clean it up, but I'm going to. I'm going to take, let's go ahead and just fill it in with red. Can't talk. Look at that. That's pretty good. And you know, it just needs a little bit of cleaning up. So let's do that. I think we're still in the center of the page here. Let's bring it, I don't know what I did, so I'm going to bring in some indexing lines and hit P. Yep, that's in the center of the page. So I'm going to group this and I'm going to nudge it out of the way. And then I can just move this back to the center. I'm going to double check, make sure it fits, and it does. We're going to clean this up. I'm going to left click, right click, and I want to look at what side I like the best. And they're really about equal. But I'm going to take my virtual segment delete key and delete everything on this side of that line. And this probably wasn't needed, but I'm going to grab my smoothing tool, set on like 0.25 inches. And I'm going to grab this and sometimes make it a little bigger, 0.5. The bigger it is, the faster it's going to react. And you might not, you might not like what I'm doing. You might like the way it was, and we can always, take the shape tool and, expand some of these out, expand this out, bring this back, do whatever you want to with it. I think everything else looks pretty cool. So once we could use a little bit of smoothing, just on like that part. You don't want to change it too much because and I'm going way beyond what the young lady asked. See, like right there's two nodes. They don't need to be there, and kind of round off. I don't know if they're going to engrave this or print this, so if you send me ever a email, let me know what you're doing with it. Now I'm going to Control D to duplicate that while holding down the Control button, move it over. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my indexing line. Just in case I have a leak, I'm going to put a rectangle around it. I'm going to take the Smart Fill tool and fill that in. No leaks. Move it down. Take away the outline. And voila. That's pretty nice. I like it. It's a good looking heart. And I agree, I don't like those. I don't like those as much as I like this. Anyway, hope that gave you an idea or two. And thank you for watching.